All right, shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in the live, man. Much love to the fam. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to y'all being in this Tuesday installment of the Sports Coma, man. Y'all hit that like button as well, man. And of course, as you know, that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel, man, for all your prop bets. With the NFL playoffs approaching us, and the NFL playoffs are here. We got the Super Bowl coming up after we had to see Coach Payton go down, and you see Seattle and New England lining up. A true East versus West type Super Bowl. Going to be interesting. We'll see how it all goes, but you can get your bet in right now. The big game is a little away, but get your bets in. Also, the NBA and other major sports, you can go to FanDuel, the app, and place your bet. Anyway, with that being said, man, let's get into this broadcast today on the Sports Coma, man. Listen, we're going to be talking about, on this Tuesday installment, man, the Demario Davis effect, right? We talked about Demario Davis, as you guys can see on screen currently. This is an article that was, of course, penned by NFL Tiara, and it's talking about the fact that Demario Davis is open to free agency. He's open to free agency. And this is going to be an interesting talking point because I mentioned this before, that he wants to return to the black and gold. We know he wants to come back to the Saints, and him and Cam Jordan for an additional year. These guys love the team. They feel like the team could really make it somewhere. So what will the magic number be? We talked about leverage. This could be a situation where Demario Davis could leverage the market for his favor in terms of him getting paid, right? Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. And what could be his final year playing in the NFL. And you got to give it to Demario Davis on this season. This guy is 100 years old. He had 140 plus tackles this year, 147, I want to say. He propped up and had an interview on K. Let's before we get into the rest of this article, let's hear what he had to say on K's show. She had a discussion. Well, Mr. Demario Davis, here it goes.
This is not the way the world works. And you defy gravity, you defy everything. Career high in total tackles for the second year in a row, Davis. What does it feel like to have 143 total tackles in year 14?
It's unbelievable. It is a credit to number one, the unit of guys that I play with. They made it a joy to come to work every day. I had a phenomenal coordinator in Brandon Staley, so just being able to mesh and think about ball and talk high-level strategy each and every week of my career. I could feel it when I was playing, but to really see the statistics around it really was cool. And so it's like, man, I'm continuing to play at a high level. That's how I knew so early that I wanted to come back for next year.
And I think, the career highs is one thing, but it's just the consistency for me that you ninth year in a row with 100 plus combined tackles. That is not easy to do. That is bananas that you're able to do that. You also had 2 forced fumbles somehow this year.
Absolutely.
Can you please
stellar.
talk me through this one against the Giants, my friend, in week 5?
And I come out and I look up and Jonas running down the field, and that was truly a game changer moment in the game, because we went on to get 3 or 4 other turnovers after that.
Demario.
The 5 absolutely safe shelters in the world. Number 1, Peak.
Came close to scoring again. That was such a door-stopping moment. I remember talking about it the day after the game. Such a good moment.
Yeah, I mean, as a defender, we in our room, we always say A players got to be A players, and what that means is really that the guys on the team are really going to feed off the top guys. And so you're not going in just saying I want to make the big play. I just want to make my plays when they come my way. And so to be one of the guys to make a moment like that really triggers the rest of the team was really huge and felt good. And I feel but that's what you're supposed to do as a leader of a defense and leader of a team.
You bring up Staley and obviously being able to, I guess what you're saying is the relationship.
Got to lead by example.
See somebody at your level or talk ball with them, or I don't know how you would describe that, but I know it's working if I look at the numbers, right? You with this career year in tackles, Cam Jordan, 10.5 sack season. He's 1,000,000 years old. I'm kidding. Chase Young, love this for Chase Young, 10 sacks, won the last NFC Defensive Player of the Month that we had. What about Brandon Staley, the scheme, the man? What brings out the best of this defense?
What's interesting on top of that, man, is that you see since week 8, 20 points, less than that. If the offense would have stepped up, we would have got a couple of more wins. And we know early on, the first 2 months, because that's basically what it is. Since week 8 means that's 2 months into the NFL football year, regular season wise. It took the Saints defense, and it was you seeing it in glimpses and pieces early on, right? The offense was not there. The offense was offensive. It wasn't consistent. They couldn't run the ball. They didn't have any continuity. It was just very confusing. And of course, at some point, you realize within the first month or so worth of games, they're trying to implement what they learned during the preseason, and it wasn't meshing well, not consistently. You've seen glimpses of it here and there. Guys were dropping passes, guys were missing tackles, guys were dropping interception balls. They were doing everything they wasn't supposed to do. And then as the season progressed and countless practices started added up, then you start seeing the impact, and it started to click in certain guys' heads on how to play. So Staley, he knew it, and this is the thing too, because it doesn't just happen by circumstance. Brandon Staley really needs to be given a lot of credit early on, right? When he first stepped in, we seen that it wasn't working. The Saints defense was not getting pressure. And we remember, because I'm doing the play-by-play games, and I remember saying to myself, man, this guy is going to have to send some linebackers in there or something. But what he was trying to do was get pressure with the front 4 guys, and they weren't getting home. Not only were they not getting home in the way that they were supposed to get home, they were also not defending the edges, allowing guys to gain ground on them there. So all of that over time eventually changed. We just wish that all of this fantastic stuff that we seeing on the screen, when you talk about since week 8, when you're holding them less than 20 points, and then points yards per game is 4th in the NFL, and yards per carry was 4th in the NFL, and then the third down rate that they held them to was 2nd in the NFL, that most of this would have came with wins. Learning faster. It was the difference. And of course, we just want, now that the season is over with in the past, we just need them to keep this and carry this into this year. And that's what we want to see done. So hopefully they can do that.
Brandon is the man. He's the man. As you've been talking about, like talking on his level, I'm not even talking on his level.
Huh?
I mean, he is up there. I mean, and we talk all the time. So the whole playoffs, we've been having dialogue about the games. And number one, he has an appetite for greatness that's just unmatched. And he has a confidence and the skill sets that he's acquired. And he knows how to mobilize his guys. He knows how to bring the best out of the guys. He knows how to put them in position. He knows how to motivate them. That's why you see, Cam, having them. And I think Staley sees the game more than most defensive coordinators probably seeing in today's game.
Wow.
If you look at what we were doing defensively.
Hold on, Demario, don't talk him up too much. Shit, somebody gonna try to come and take him up. Hold on.
Like, turn the film on and watch what I
just gotta
go. Doing. And this was with
Demario talking him up.
Who hadn't taken that many snaps.
Demario, slow down, bro. Don't talk him up that much, bro. You might have somebody that might come and try to steal them from us, brother. We just slow down, bro, with the compliments.
And
bro.
we're going against offenses that really have had their system flowing, 5-6 years. I mean, our first 8-9 games through the Rams was a gauntlet. All the guys that we played were
100%
were playoff teams, and I think when you look at the last round, all those guys we played this season.
100%. And then down the stretch, I wish the season didn't end when it did, because y'all really somehow turned a corner or something happened. Maybe Tyler got more comfortable. Like the way he ended the season, like the momentum.
We just needed to learn faster. That's all. That's my estimation. It's just learning faster, because Demario Davis is a fantastic player. Period. It's just at points and times. You have the instinct from the family base, the support base that makes this stuff all go. They want to see more than just talk. Enough of that. It's been 5 years without us getting to the playoffs. And I love these stats. I really do. But, we knew the schedule, what the damn schedule was going to be, but 3-4 damn months before it came out, we knew who was going to be a tough team to deal with. We know they're always the repeat guys that play football in a difficult manner. We know we're going to see teams like the Rams and the Niners. Those guys play some difficult football. We know that, So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I don't care about the gauntlet. I'm ready for the damn gauntlet. That lets me know my team is prepared to ball out. I want to see us against the best teams in the NFL. That means that we're ready for the next step, whether it's going against Buffalo, whether it's going against the Rams, whether it's going against whomever, Denver, whatever. We need to take it to these guys, the bottom line. And of course, like I said, the defense was ahead of the offense. We seen that all up and down training camp and preseason. Y'all know it. Y'all seen it. When Coach Staley went out and got Chris Rump II, Jonah Williams, Bullard, when he went out and got guys like that and brought them onto the team, I was like, this guy just keep adding people because he knew those men. He knew those men would fit in with what he was doing here. And guys like Divine Gacho, we thought that would have a major impact. Those guys fell back. Nate Shepard stepped up. Brian Bresee was doing his thing. And we had guys like Bullard and Jonah Williams and Chris Rump II and all those guys stepping up and handling business. Then you talk about Chase Young excelling after missing, 5 games? And Chase Young steps in there and still gets 10 sacks. Cam finished the year with 10.5 sacks. That is definitely credit to them as a whole, like Cam not getting worn out. Remember, they had the defensive rotations because you'll see Chris Rump in there. You see Jonah Williams. They had a mean circulation and rotation of players that will come in and guys will be fresh. Like you even seen it with Pete Werner. The rotations impacted Pete Werner, who's usually a player that has difficulty staying healthy. But Pete Werner was healthy last year. That's because he was mixed in, with Danny Stutzman. Stutzman had 50-something tackles. Pete still had like 70-something tackles, and Pete still played. He looked good in that role. But Demario Davis is well conditioned. Cam Jordan is well conditioned. And now you see Chase Young, who just needed a big brother like Cam and Demario to teach him how to condition his body. And then you seen him explode and have some really good pop ball in there. So at the end of the day, yeah, we understand the gauntlet, man. I understand the gauntlet. I ain't afraid of the damn gauntlet. I want the damn gauntlet. That let me know that we ready for some big things in the city of New Orleans. Now, it didn't happen early on, but at the end of the day, guess what? We're in a position now that we need to take this into next year and continue this development overall.
It feels like it's there with the Saints team.
Yeah, there was a lot of momentum that finished the season, and it'll be incredible to see what type of offseason the organization has to continue that momentum, right into next season.
Okay, well, let's talk about it because you're mentioning, as you're saying
this about Brandon Staley, like
your season is done. And
you know what's coming, right?
Brandon,
let's talk some money.
You guys are watching the playoffs together over text. You're checking in with each other. I imagine that's because he wants you to cook next year. He sounds like Brandon really needs you back next year, as do Saints fans, as do I. You're a free agent this year. I know you said you're coming back. Where are we in the process of making you a Saint in 2026?
I'm coming back to the NFL. That's I'm coming back to the NFL.
Okay.
And I'm excited
Smart man.
About that.
Smart man.
I am super excited about that. I keep training all the way through the Super Bowl, so my body feels great. And so I'm just excited. I'm just excited for the offseason, and we're finishing up these games, watching them through the Super Bowl, and then I'll get into my offseason training regimen and get ready to do it all over again. And however that plays itself out, we shall see.
I'm not frozen.
If you're trying to stay lean and jacked and athletic from the comfort of your own home,
I'll start crying. I literally am tearing up. Do you see this? Because you have to.
Why are you tearing up?
Because you can't leave the Saints. Demario, I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say. Do I want it for you?
Why are you assuming that?
Because you said NFL and you're making me sad.
Why? Katie, I work for the NFL.
No, there's so few things I can depend on.
You're right.
Seeing you in New Orleans.
Hold on. Let me stop it right there. He caught that. He works for the NFL. See, the thing is, the bottom line is, it's team all the way until his eye, and then his eye about the money. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm getting at? Demario Davis does not. He worked in the NFL for an NFL team. So he say he works for the NFL, right? Now, this is obviously a ploy. Like, okay, the Who Dat Nation been compensating Demario Davis. He get broke off more money than he ever did get from some Jets and all that. We know when it's said and done, he ain't going in no Jets Hall of Fame. This is down here where he comes from, the Black and Gold City. But he says, I work for the NFL. Now, what's happening is we know that he's going to use the market to get leverage because he understands how this goes. This is his final hurrah at free agency. So if the Saints want him, he's going to have to pay. But that speaks to the mindset of players. Like I said, some of these guys, like I said before, it's about this and here. It's about this and here, right? And then all this black and gold stuff comes second. But it's not the same with you. Anybody with the money, if the Saints don't match him and he gets paid, hell, the Falcons could pay him and he'll go over there for a year, right? If they offer him that much money and he goes to, we've seen this happen before with other players. Hell, we've seen other guys thinking they want to get paid what they want to get paid and they don't. We've seen it with Bobby Hebert, Martin Anderson, Joe Horn. We've seen it all countless times over and over again where guys would leave the Saints and go to rival teams or teams that's willing to pay him, because it is one of the situations where it is a thing where these are hired hitters. These are hired hitters. You won't seldom see a Cam Jordan, a guy that was drafted here and will finish here and would not dare think about going anywhere else. But nobody's talking to Demario Davis about coming back. He's already thrown it out there. He's been saying this toward the back end of the season that he wants to come back. He said it after Cam said it, and both Cam wants to come back. But as it stands right now, Mickey Loomis now, it didn't negotiate with anybody except for Chris Olave. And based on what they're saying, word on the street is that hadn't moved at all. They're still there. There was no discussion, because really you could have tabled the Chris Olave talks, right, to a degree. If you weren't getting anywhere there, you could have tabled that and then had a discussion with Alontae Taylor, right? But if you that comfortable in your own skin, I'm talking about the Saints now. If they're that comfortable in their skin where they're saying we're going to let the market dictate the value, then you must be good with that. Everybody, the whole entire Saints brass knew that Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, Alontae Taylor were coming up on contract ending time. Each one of these guys at some point inside, now they've been saying to you as of recent, hey man, I want to come back. But you don't think they were telling the brass that before they told you that? They don't tell you nothing before they tell the brass. You get what I'm talking about? It won't be a big surprise. They'd have these discussions in-house before they get out-house is what I'm saying. But Demario Davis is a smart man. He's going to leverage the market to get his value. Now, if there's a guy that comes in or a team that comes in that wants Demario Davis for 1 year because they believe he could be the missing piece to get them over the hill, then that could be the thing. But I understand this thing. That's why I be telling y'all, don't get all invested in these players because they're hitters. At the end of the day, they'll go where the money tell them to go. You can't be mad at them about that. Just got to understand the game.
More than Cam. Cam go, like Cam go. I always say to have Cam go. I mean, Seattle. So is Seattle interesting to you? What's interesting to you? What's a priority for you in free agency? And by the way,
money.
I know I'm being a little baby here, but you deserve to be wined and dined. You deserved all of the things, and all New Orleans fans would back you in whatever your next chapter would look like.
As long as he don't go to the Falcons. I don't give a damn what you're talking about.
I think what as I'm watching these playoff games, and Brandon and I kind of talk about this a lot, is I'm looking at some of these defenses, and we live in an offensive, really loaded game. The game is slanted sometimes seemingly towards the offense, but really these offensive coordinators are minds, and you really have to get inside the matrix to understand what they're doing to really defend it well. And that's what we were able to do.
The film, brother.
Like I saw what Brandon was drawing up for
That'll
us,
give you an
and
idea.
drawing up for us. And I think a lot of the defenses are just one good player away from taking that next step as a defense. Some of these end of the game drives, they just shouldn't be happening to these defenses. But you really need that. You really need that general in the middle that can see that. And some of these guys, they have young players, and so some of these defenses just need a guy that can help their young guys take that next step. How does like a Kool-Aid McKinstry take that next step? How does an Alontae Taylor go from good to being great? How does a Chase Young, being a borderline potential good guy, go to being a superstar, dominant player in this league? But they have to have a veteran that helps them take that next step. And I think that's what I'm noticing on a lot of these defenses. They don't have that. And so that's what's motivating for me, is like, that's why I think I bring the most value, is not only being what I am in the middle, but helping those younger guys take that next step, because it's a relational thing and not everybody has that. And so I think you just know your superpower. And, when everybody may need your service, but somebody may need your service more. And so that's how I kind of look at it.
And you remember the old Sanford Sun episodes when you had Smitty and Hopkins and Smitty would say stuff. I mean, not Smitty, Hopkins or Swinehauser. Before there was Hopkins, Hoppy. There for my Sanford and Son people out there was Officer Swinehauser, who was the first partner of Smitty, who y'all my Sanford and Son people know what I'm talking about. He used to say stuff like he'll say, if Fred Sanford house got broken into, he'll call the police code and then he'll read the code down and then speak it in the jargon that's familiar to how law enforcement officers would speak. So Fred and Lamont would look at Swinehauser and be just totally confused and then just look away to him, to Smitty, and Smitty says, "You're sitting on a gold mine." You see what I'm saying? He would translate the jargon. So allow me to be Smitty for what Demario said. That's basically saying I'm going to leverage this final year. I got one more year left in free agency. I'm going to use this outstanding year, 147 tackles at age whatever, in year whatever, to get me one final payday. I'm not going to go out like that because I still feel I got something to offer. So if they got a team out there, there's a few people out there, and he already directed his agent to do that. And remember, he's within his rights to do that. He's not under contract, and the Saints still owe him a ton of dead money. So Demario Davis can go out there, but guess what? The Saints do have an insurance plan for that. They still have Danny Stutzman, and they do have Pete Werner. So if the money gets beyond what the Saints are willing to give, and remember, this is not a foregone conclusion with Mickey Loomis. There are going to be moves that both you and me do not agree with. Now, do I want Demario Davis and Cam Jordan back? Yes, at the proper price. Yes. Why at the proper price, Q? Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna have these guys here. We still got a ton of dead money that we got to pay these guys, but I do not want signing them back to be a encumbrance to what the future holds. We still have to draft like they're not here, right? Like if you bring Cam Jordan and Demario back for 1 year, you still have to draft like they're not here. You still have to go and get you a defensive end edge rusher. You just have a mentor to teach him with Cam. You still have to go out and eventually down the line, get you a linebacker candidate to kind of fortify the defense, down the line in the draft. I think the Saints will go into the draft with the best man approach because I think they're going to chop down all this stuff and eventually hit free agency head on and be like, in free agency, they're going to chop down a lot of the needs that they have, including the offensive line, the left guard position, getting another tackle and the guard. It might be 2 or 3 offensive linemen the Saints get. I can see them adding a veteran wide receiver. I can see them adding a veteran tight end to the mix. I can see them doing that. I can see them bringing back Audric Estime. I can see them taking a run at a Tyler Algieri, or some of these other fantastic backs that's in the free agency class. I can see them seeing about maybe talking to a cornerback on the market. You see what I'm saying? Or an interior defensive lineman, bringing back some of the guys that we're familiar with. So at the end of the day, I can see the Saints addressing several needs and then hitting the draft, picking the best player available according to the Saints big board. I can see that because when you hit free agency and you address those needs to improve that team, then you go into the draft and you just go down the line and pick up the best talent. That is a solid draft. That means I'm getting the best talent, bam, no matter what spot they are, because that ends up making my team better in the end, as opposed to me have to reach, because that's when you get in trouble. You get in trouble when you have to go out and then reach for talent and then they don't develop as fast as you want. You get what I'm saying? When you get talent and guys can play, you'll find a place for them on your team as opposed to reaching and grabbing. That's when we get in trouble. So that's my interpretation. And Demario Davis is good. I'm cool with everything Demario Davis saying, but just don't take your ass to the Falcons. All I'm saying.
Demario,
why are you doing that?
Because I'm trying to think of, because it sounds like you're more open than I
Kay's
thought
such a sweetheart. She's such a sweetheart. You've
been very thoughtful about this. I'm excited for you. I'm trying to think of the teams that need that. The Jets need that. You and Aaron Glenn reuniting would be cool.
No. Let's get this straight. He's not going to go to a downgrade. Demario, unless they super paying him, he's not going to leave the Saints to go to a non-competing interest. No. If he's going to lead the Saints, he's going to upgrade, meaning he's going to go to a team that is one piece away. And this is what we talking about. He mentioned it. So the Jets are off the table. He's not going to pew the Jets. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is it has to be a team that feels like it's one solid veteran away from contending. Who's that team in y'all mind? Y'all put it in the chat. Hit that like button.
Rams?
And
Seattle has a lot of cap space. Sean Alexander might have been right, huh?
You never know. You never know. I don't try to predict what God has the final say so. So I just try to.
Okay.
Don't forget your age and either, brother.
What is Sean Payton going to think when he sees this clip? What would that look? Could they use you? Would you be up for that reunion?
Man, I don't think they need much on defense. They got it. They flying high. They were right there. That was my pick to win it, and I just think like
they had Bo Nix. They would have won that. They had Bo Nix.
You know, and it's unfortunate.
Bo Nix, they would have won that.
He's been itching to get that close for a while.
Yeah, but they're young on defense. This is a young defense. I think they could use what you're saying, a veteran presence to take them to the next level.
But they got my boy. You know, they got Roach over there leading the way.
I need you to know it says, thank you so much, Demario. Can't wait for you to sign the dotted line in New Orleans. That's what my script says. But who knows? Go get wine and dine, Demario. Get that bag, baby. Go get that ring. Love ya. See you soon.
Go get the bag. You already got it, sweetheart. He got the bag. But the bottom line is, like I was saying, man, let me get off this damn thing. This thing got more ads in a little bit. I'm sorry. Shout out to YouTube, man. Shout out to YouTube. Listen, man, the bottom line is, man, whatever Demario Davis wants to do, he can do it. The Saints, he gets a lot of dead money from the Saints. The Saints owe the man dead money for the next couple of years. You know, he can go wherever he wants, and he's going to use the market to create leverage for himself. But the Saints do have an insurance policy. They can rock with a guy that got 50 tackles and go into next year with Danny Stutzman and Pete Werner, which is what the plan was if Demario Davis leaves. Now, of course, we don't want Demario to go anywhere. What if he prices himself to the point where the Saints saying we're not going to do that? You know, Alontae Taylor could very well be that kind of player as well. But, you know, I just wanted to kind of react to that and to give you that. So final year of his contract, what does a Demario Davis final year at 37 years old, 146 tackles, 14-year career, right? Right now, Davis was in the final year of it. He agreed to a 3-year contract at $27 million that included $18.35 million guaranteed 5 years ago. He's set to make a base salary of $10 million in the final year of that deal in 2024. When he restructured that 2 years at 17, the Saints restructured that last March. In 25, Davis appeared in 17 games for the Saints and recorded 143 tackles, 6 tackles for a loss, a half a sack, 3 pass defense, 2 forced fumble, and 1 recovered fumble. We'll have more. So this is one of the situations where, like I said, man, having Demario Davis back to the team, in my book, would be a helpful thing. But there is also a reality, family, where that might not happen. Right? There could be a reality where, Demario Davis might not return. But like I said, for the fact that if he doesn't, then you have a situation where, hey, man, listen, we got to do this, that, and the third. Then you have to pivot in the draft. You got to pivot in free agency. But that's the great thing about knowing this stuff early on. You could provide insurance policies. The Saints got those guys. They can add another veteran in free agency. They can, however they need to move here. It's on Mick and Loomis and the GMs to get this stuff done, right? We want Demario back. I respect Demario Davis, and I want him to return, man. But at the same time, he got to come back at the right rate, and Demario wants to get paid. That's the bottom line. That's what I see. All right, y'all put what y'all think in the chat. Let's jump to the next one. Saints star projected to leave New Orleans to join the Rams. Shout out to my brother Kyle T. Mosley at Sports Illustrated. It's one of his writers on it. Saints showed down the stretch that the roster is currently constructed with can win games with Shuck under center. Even as the injuries piled up, Shuck looked good down the stretch and now has a full offseason prepared as the team starter. The defense took a step forward, specifically in the second round of the season. Overall, the Saints allowed the 9th fewest yards per game in 2025 at the 295.2 yards per game, and the Saints finished 1 spot behind the AFC champion New England Patriots and 3 spots behind the NFC champion Seattle Seahawks. That's a good list to be on, to be honest with you, because both those teams are in the Super Bowl, baby. How about and shout out to Kubiak, Clint Kubiak, man, doing that, man, and that's very popping. The Saints won't be able to simplify Simply run it back, though. After the Super Bowl, NFL draft will quickly approach along with free agency plus the trade market. NFL is in business. Saints certainly will have some turnover. One guy to watch is cornerback Alontae Taylor. He's viewed as the top pending free agent in football. According to CBS Sports, Zachary Perillis, who ranked Taylor as the 14th overall pending free agent, but predicted that he will leave to join the Rams. Now, what are you talking about? We're talking about this is here as CBS peaked this list and put this together as, and like I mentioned, the top 50 free agents involved. And then also to give y'all some backdrop, they talk about George Pickens as one, Trey Hendrickson is predicted to go to the Ravens. They saying Pickens goes back to the Cowboys, Daniel Jones back to the Colts, Jalen Phillips is the Titans. You see the rest of these guys, see Alec Pierce, the Commanders, Rasheed Walker to the Cardinals, Aaron Rodgers into retirement, even though we've seen Mike McCarthy is the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who came out today and said he wouldn't mind having Aaron Rodgers to come back. And we know that there's a Green Bay connection where Coach McCarthy won a championship in Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers was a terrific quarterback up there in Green Bay as well. So that is also something to kind of keep a lookout on. You can see a couple of these other guys. Breece Hall, Seattle. You see all these other guys, Juwan Jennings to the Titans. And this is who he's picking. And then, of course, you get down to 14. You see Alontae Taylor to the Rams. Taylor had the best year as a pro in 2025. The Rams have a clear need at the cornerback position. Whether they address it in free agency or the draft remains to be determined. But in this projection, they now have one of the top free agents available. Other suitors outside the Saints is the Dolphins and the Titans. But if you scroll up this list, they have other defensive backs like Tariq Woolen, who's above Alontae Taylor. And I think he is the highest rated defensive back on the board outside of Alontae. And a lot of people, what I'm, looking at and seeing is a lot of people are looking at Alontae Taylor as it might be priced out of the Saints' hands. But you know what? I love Alontae Taylor. I respect Alontae Taylor. If the Saints don't bring Alontae Taylor back, we got to address the need in the draft. Or hell, we do it in free agency. But the Saints are at a wonderful spot in the draft where they can get talent wherever they need it to be quite honest with you. So the Saints need to find a way to retain Taylor. Well, number 14, Alontae Taylor at his best year. So what does it look like? 27 years old, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks, 11 pass defense, and held opposing quarterbacks to a 68.1 completion rate in 2025 on 95 or 94 attempts against him in coverage. Spotrac currently has Taylor projected market as just over $33 million across 3 seasons. To me, that's feasible. I said it on previous shows. I would spend $11 million for Alontae Taylor. I would spend $11 million on Alontae Taylor because I think then, of course, I would challenge Alontae Taylor to get them interceptions because Alontae dropped interceptions. He wasn't the best coverage guy, but when I pay you this money, I want you to become the best. That's the next level of this. Can not only just invest in it because he was paid for what he did in the past. What you're going to pay for Alontae Taylor going into the future, the next 3 or 4 years, depending on the contract length, is what is he going to do going forward? You already made your money from the past. Now going into the present, into the future, I want you to elevate to Pro Bowl status. I want you to get interceptions, and I want you to be a better cover cornerback. That's what I'm going to challenge you on in the next level if we retain your services. But $33 million over 3 seasons, I'm paying that for Alontae Taylor. I'm giving them that. This is just what I think. With the way that the 25 season ended, Saints should be ready to invest this offseason, includes finding a way to retain Taylor. The Saints are trending upwards. Losing a player like Taylor would be a step back. If the Saints could enter the year with Kool-Aid, Taylor, and Quincy Riley in place, still plus another piece, they could have a very good secondary. Well, we did have a good secondary, but I get having another extra corner would be special. But it comes down to whether the Saints can get a deal over the finish line in free agency. And let me tell you something. I think the Saints feel like that they can because they have market projections. They understand they're not out here gambling. They understand well and good about how much a player is going to be worth before they hit the market. That's how they make the destination to say whether or not I'm going to let this guy hit the market or not, right? We know this. Alontae Taylor, they did not talk about re-signing Alontae Taylor the entire year. And they knew going into 2025 that he would be a free agent. They knew that about Demario. They knew about Cam, like I said before. So allowing them to hit the market and the market to set the value, Saints are comfortable with. But every now and again, you might get a team that is willing to give him more than what you want to accept, and they're willing to take that step. 11 million a year to me is cool. I'm also cool with 12 million a year. But I think anything north of 13, 14, 15 million a year, I'm going to go get Caleb Downs in the draft. I'm going to go get Masur Delaney in the draft. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to go and get somebody, a young guy that I could piece in the defense. Because if I'm at number 8 and that's my biggest need, of course, the Saints going to look at free agency and see if there are guys in there as well. But if I can't get Alontae at the price that and even giving him that much, 11 or 12 million dollars a year, and that's what 36 million over 3 years. If he's not good with that, then I'm cool. I go into the draft. I go get Downs. If not him, Masur Delaney, I got you. Whatever I got to do. But in the end, I think that'll be the step that I take on. But I want those guys back. But like I said, man, you might not be able to get these guys based on the fact that those agents get involved and they be talking to you. Hey, man, you can make a lot of money. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It happened to Paulson Adebo. The Saints was interested in signing Paulson Adebo back. And guess what happened? At the end of the day, Paulson Adebo bucked and went on about his business to the Giants. The Giants gave that man $18 million a year. The Saints was not going to they was not going to match that. It wasn't going to happen. So anyway, the man ended up going his direction, and more power to him is all I can say, man. I ain't paying that kind of money for no Alontae Taylor. I mean, for no Paulson Adebo. He can go on with that BS. All righty, let's hit this one. I got 2 more stories that I'm going to share with you guys here. Shout out to NOLA.com. Saints often use the Senior Bowl to take advantage. How can they do that this year? To look at the Senior Bowl that's coming up in Mobile, Alabama. Shout out to Mobile. The Saints have a long history of drafting players. They scout at the Senior Bowl. Last year, Hall included Tyler Shuck, Quincy Riley, Devin Neal, Matavo. This year, they yielded tackle Tali Fuaga, quarterback Spencer Rattler, and linebacker Jalen Ford. New Orleans class in 23 and 2022 are netted several Senior Bowl participants. Chances are the Saints will dip back into the well again this year, which makes this week of Senior Bowl practice all the more important. Here are the Saints-related Senior Bowl questions. As practices for all-star outing beginning on Tuesday today in the Senior Bowl, what advantages will the coaching of the American team provide? Kellen Moore's offensive staff is well represented with running backs coach Joel Thomas serving as the head coach of the American team, right? So it's good having him there. And several other assistants taking on other important roles that allow the Saints coaches to get a close look at an intriguing group of prospects that include Florida State defensive tackle Carl Banks, Ohio State cornerback Davison Igbonusun. I hope I'm getting that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. I'm kind of bad with the names. USC wide receiver Jacoby Lane. And of that trio, Banks seems as a potential first rounder. New Orleans doesn't have a strong need at the position. But Igbonusun, who's 6'2", 193-pound corner, could be an interesting day 2 prospect if Alontae leaves in free agency. After Lane, who's 6'4", jump ball catching specialist, was give the Saints a shiny new red zone target. Regardless, they go online now. Look at my shiny glasses here online now. Regardless, the Saints are coming off their best draft class in years, and getting a detailed look at an entire team of prospects should help their evaluations this season. Right? Which skilled players? This picture is from back in 20. People say, "Q, did they bring a Fontenot back?" No, this is from 2015. But could this be some foreshadowing? Which skilled players are potential targets for the Shuckster? Well, the Saints are projected to have 8 draft picks in April. When factoring in the compensatory pick they likely will receive for Paulson Adebo's departure in free agency last spring, this gives them an ample opportunity to find playmakers to help Shuck, who's coming off an electric rookie season at the quarterback position. The Senior Bowl won't have regarded prospects such as Ohio State wide receiver Cornell Tate or Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. But there are opportunities for others to boost their stock. Specifically, several draft analysts have remarked that there isn't a clear-cut RB2 in this year's draft behind Love. Perhaps that opens the door for someone like Penn State Nick Singleton. Love that kid. Watching him play. Washington running back Jonah Coleman. At wide receiver, ESPN named Missouri's Kevin Coleman, who's 5'11", 174, as a potential sleeper. Right? How good is this class for D linemen? Unfortunately, Reuben Bain and Texas Tech David Bailey are no longer expected to attend the bowl after previously committing to it. Despite the lack of star power, this year's defensive line class is arguably deep. The Saints could use another edge rusher, even though Chase Young and Cam Jordan each recorded double-digit sacks. Miami's Akeem Masiter and Clemson's T.J. Parker and Alabama's L.T. Overton are among those worth watching in Mobile. Will any other Saints news break in Mobile? And like last year, the Saints don't have to worry about conducting a head coaching search during the Senior Bowl. The year before that, New Orleans was in the midst of an offensive coordinator search. Despite no large issues overshadowing this year's events, there are several unanswered questions surrounding this offseason. Will the Saints bring back Demario Davis and Cam Jordan? Will Taysom Hill retire? How aggressive will the Saints be in free agency? This won't provide it won't provide all those answers, but with the teams gathered in Mobile, there could be enough exchanging of information for the rumor mill to churn. With the questions about will the Saints bring Demario Davis and Cam Jordan back, time will tell. Time will tell, and money will tell. Cam is not look like he's leveraging the market to come back. Cam wants a contract. Demario is going to leverage the market. Taysom Hill, in my opinion, will retire. How aggressive the Saints will be in free agent? I think they will be aggressive in free agency. I think the Saints will hit free agency, and they'll go and get some guys in holes where they feel like they need. If you go and pay for a veteran, I think that helps out the Saints. Like, instead of drafting a young offensive lineman, we got the 2 tackles. We did well there. But what if the Saints opt to go and spend some money on a really talented left guard, right? And patch him in there amongst these 2 talented guys next to the likes of guys like Eric McCoy, and then, of course, some depth competition for Ruiz on that other side. There could be a couple of offensive linemen the Saints retrieve and bring to the team. It could very well work, right? Could very well work. So we'll see how it all approaches. But see, this is the wondrousness of this upcoming season, is the fact that there's not too many questions to either be kind of flaunted or worried about. The Saints, a lot of what the Saints have had is actually pretty good. Just to be honest with you, we're actually doing all right. All right, so anyway, let's do this, man. We're going to get this last little bit of article right here from the NFL TR, and it's saying the Bills promoted our former guy, offensive coordinator Joe Brady, to head coach. Did y'all know that? According to Ian Rappaport, now the Bills are promoting Joe Brady to head coach, succeeding Sean McDermott. Now, listen, when they fired him, there was a rumor mill. Guys in the barbershop was talking about this. So this wasn't really something that was really, hey, man, listen, this is going to be a surprise. No, there was guys when we was in the barbershop saying, man, if McDermott doesn't make it, they're going to fire him and just promote Joe Brady to the QB position. Why? Because Joe Brady and Josh Allen are super cool. Don't think for a second that Josh Allen ain't like nudging the owner like, hey, man, listen, Joe Brady. Because can Joe Brady get Josh Allen to the next level, right? He's been offensive coordinator but now that he's the guy running the team, can he get him to that next step? Because a lot of people blaming McDermott, they blaming the wide receivers, they blaming all these other people, but the blame ain't on Josh Allen. He did not have Lamar Jackson. He didn't have Patrick Mahomes. He didn't have nobody standing in his way to stop him this time, and he still got stopped. You see, so in the end, sooner or later, the blame or the hammer going to fall on his head. He's not going to escape this. He has to take the blame for how he played. He didn't play as well as he was supposed to, and they're throwing them interceptions, and that's not on McDermott. That's on him. But McDermott got put in the street, and I think McDermott's a hell of a coach. And McDermott will find another job. Maybe Arizona could be a good spot if he still wants to coach. I'm hearing that he is. I would love for Sean McDermott to go to Cleveland. You talking about building up stability? If Cleveland has half a brain, they need to hire Sean McDermott. When Buffalo cut him loose, they should have been on the phone, because Cleveland still don't have a coach right now. They need to be on the phone with Sean McDermott. So whoever has some or whatever his name is, he needs to be on the phone with Charlotte McDermott and bring him in as a head coach. You're talking about a guy that'll build a winning culture, that won't go for all that foolishness, will build up that offense. You better turn it over to McDermott. But anyway, getting the most out of QB Josh Allen was a big priority for Buffalo in this search, and Brady's work and relationship with Allen the past couple of years likely loomed large in the decision-making process. Joe Brady came out of LSU, went to the Saints, and has been on a skyrocket to the moon ever since, right? How long has it been since 5-6 years it took for him to become a head coach of a team? This guy finally a head coach of a team. That is unbelievable. Well, ain't unbelievable. It happens, man. We got guys like Flores and the rest of these guys. They can't seem to catch a break. But man, but Joe Brady, man, messing with the Coach Peyton tree, what he did down in LSU, that is just puts him on a skyrocket. Now he's a head coach. Congratulations to Brady, though. So anyway, his work, his past relationship with Allen past a couple of years, like a large loom in the decision-making process. Josh Allen told the general manager, hey, man, of course he did. Former Giants head coach Brian DeBoer, who was also the Bills play caller when Allen broke out as a player, and the Broncos QB coach Davis Webb, a close friend of Allen, were among the Bill considerations. Brady, just 36 years old, began his coaching career back in 2013. So it took this man less than 10 years to become an NFL coach. 8 years? William Mary as a linebackers coach. Wow. He became a graduate assistant at Penn State, spent 2 years with the Saints as an offensive assistant, was hired as a passing game coordinator, wide receiver coach in 2019, left for a year to become the Panthers coordinator, was fired before the second season. Bills hired him as a QB coach in 2022 and promoted him to offensive coordinator when Ken Dorsey was shown the door a few years later. In 2025, the Bills offense ranked number 4th in total yards, number 4 in point scores, number 1 in rushing offense, and he has some good accolades. So Joe Brady takes the step. He's now the coach of the Buffalo Bills, and how does this then turn around and help them? We shall see. But congratulations to Joe Brady. I think he is a fantastic coach, man. A young, exciting coach, and that offense should be on fire for the Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about this one, man, because this is another one to kind of talk about here. Is Browns QB Shedeur Sanders added as a Pro Bowl replacement in the Pro Bowl, right? He was kind of called in. Jordan Schultz mentioned this, and he talked about this, the fact that this is official. That the Browns QB Shedeur Sanders has been added to the Pro Bowl as a replacement. Drake May was originally named to the Pro Bowl, but won't play with New England advancing to the Super Bowl. Sanders was a 2-year starter at Jackson State before transferring to Colorado, following his father and coach, former NFL star Deion Sanders. He started 2 years at Colorado before declaring for the 2025 draft. The Browns traded up to select Sanders with the 144th overall pick in the 5th round. He was projected to sign a 4-year, $4.646 million rookie contract that included 447 plus signing bonus. So in 2025, Sanders appeared in 8 games, completed just 56.6% of his passes for 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns against 10 picks, and rushed for 169 yards on 21 attempts. How did he get it? And listen, I'm happy for Shedeur Sanders, but how in the hell did he get it? Now, listen, there were several other people that they could have pivoted to for a Pro Bowl bid now. A Pro Bowl bid. Well, with this type of thing going on, if Shedeur Sanders can be in a Pro Bowl with those stats, then I know that Tyler Shuck is going to win the NFL Rookie of the Year. All right. I'm just putting it all together for you. But hey, man, listen, shout out to Shedeur. I'm just like, damn, now this was a shot from left field. I did not expect this to happen. Let's just be honest and real and drill all at the same time. I wasn't expecting to see none of this happening. Now, I guess this is a little makeup for what happened early in the process where, But listen, what it does do now is when him get named to the Pro Bowl, right? That obviously tell you, okay, well, guess what, Cleveland? This is your quarterback. So this is all interesting dynamic. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this, because if you look down a list of Pro Bowl alternates, and you look at the stats and some of the stuff, we know a few guys were hurt, but they did have some guys that were healthy that had better stats that should have went there. But for Shedeur to get on top of the list, man, listen, man, that's very interesting. Let me just say it like that. That's very interesting to me to see that sort of thing happen. Maybe it's a little makeup for how they treated him early on, how they did all that finagling on the back end. But in the end, it doesn't matter. He gets named that. Now, this is the thing. With him going into the future for Cleveland, he's named as a Pro Bowl quarterback. That means that he's your starter, Cleveland. He's your starter, Cleveland. And of course, look, they're saying now, this is another report here. They're saying that Jim Schwartz is gaining momentum to be the head coach out there. This is the same Jim Schwartz who hadn't been a coach in years. He hadn't been a coach in years. It's been a long time since Schwartz he'd been in the NFL, but he hadn't been a coach in years, and he's gaining momentum. How? How y'all guys? I'm just let him handle their own shit. I'm not a Brown guy, but Schwartz is gaining momentum, according to Mary Kay Cabot. The Browns have conducted an extensive search for the new head coach. Multiple candidates withdrawing their name from the position. Multiple people saying we don't want the job. Damn. Schwartz, 59, spent 8 years as the Titan defensive coordinator before he was hired as the Lions head coach in 2009. Spent 5 years in Detroit before he was fired after the 2013 season. Schwartz spent a year with the Bills, eventually joining the Eagles as they D coordinator in 2016, stepped away after the 2020 season, was poorly weighing retirement before rejoining the Titans coaching staff as a defensive assistant. The Browns hired Schwartz as a defensive coordinator ahead of the 2023 season, and during his 5 years with the Lions, Schwartz led them to a record of 29-51. That's a 36.3% winning percentage. That sucks. Include one playoff appearance. In 2025, the Browns defense ranked 14 in points allowed, 4th in total yards, 16 in rushing yards allowed, and 3rd in passing yards allowed. A lot of the inconsistency with the Browns tied to offense. So why would they not go? See, the Browns need stability. Jim Schwartz is not stability. He wasn't a good coach when he was with these teams. He has a crappy, nasty, trifling record. Why would he be gaining momentum for anything? You know what I'm saying? I mean, where are and like they said, they're saying that several candidates withdrew their name. Multiple See, nobody wants a part of this job, right? That's terrible, man. I would have to do some more research right quick. All right, hold on. Y'all gonna have to be patient with me. All right, Browns candidates, coaching candidate. I have to look up who the guys. In 2020, I'm looking up candidates. Who are these? Who are the coaching candidates? Who wants to be the Browns coach? Well, let's look it up. All right. See, I'm just I want to know who these guys are, man, because you got to have some of these guys. The 4 candidates remaining for the Browns head coaching job, right? The Browns head coach search hasn't exactly been all smooth sailing. They've seen solid options back out. Jesse Minter, Mike McDaniel, because all those guys got jobs, lesser jobs. They're ready to go take. Well, Jesse Minter got a head coaching job, I want to say. Mike McDaniel took the offensive coordinator job with the Chargers, I want to say. And Grant Udinski all taking their name out of the running this offseason. Following Udinski's withdrawal from the consideration, there are just 4 candidates for the Browns job. The 4 names featured offensive-minded coaches, 1 defensive coach who's familiar with the Browns. Well, who are they? Remaining Cleveland candidates: defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, Rams passing game coordinator Nate Schilhace, Commanders run game coordinator Anthony Lynn, former Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken. What's up with those names, right? We know Todd Monken ain't super terrific, but at the end of the day, he's better than what Schwartz is going to do. You need an offensive-minded guy who has some tough defensive principles, not a defensive guy, right? So what's the passing game coordinator for the Rams would be kind of, that would kind of galvanize the offense, but you got a quarterback now. You got a Pro Bowler, right? So Anthony Lynn, why not Anthony Lynn? I don't understand. Why would you go with Schwartz? Well, Anthony Lynn is a defensive guy. listen, Anthony Lynn would be a former Dolphin guy. Anthony Lynn was in the site. Why not hire Browns? Why not hire Anthony Lynn as your head coach? Why not go in that direction? Why not do that? Why go back to Schwartz, Jim Schwartz, who had a record of, what is it again? 29 and 51? Why? Why are you guys doing that? So you get rid of this other guy and then bring in Schwartz, who hadn't coached in years, man. He hadn't been a head coach in years. It ain't like it ain't like this guy won a Super Bowl. You know, if it was like a Mike McCarthy, like the guy wants to coach, he stepped away for a year. So he's fresh, he's ready to go. Plus, he has a Super Bowl on his resume, regardless of if you like Mike McCarthy or not. He's been to the promised land and won. That's more than what some of these other guys could say, right? So he knows what it takes to get to the promised land. I don't understand what's the deal with Schwartz. If Anthony Lynn is there, I would consider Anthony Lynn. Hell, I would. I think Anthony Lynn wouldn't be a bad choice. But Schwartz, to me, I just don't know. Schwartz hadn't done a damn thing to be considered. I guess that's why they called the Browns. We got to give the Browns an emoji, man. We got to get the Browns one of the poop emojis and let them put that on the side of their helmet. That'll be the new Brown logo. No disrespect to the Brownies out there, man. But, man, how could y'all be going for this, man? I know people can't be excited about Jim Schwartz as a guy that possibly could be the guy. Nate Shieldhouse of the Rams might be the most high upside option of the bunch. The Rams offense has been one of the best over the last few years, and bringing in someone who has tied to such a great unit is appealing. He's young as well. If he hits in Cleveland, the Browns might have their own version of Sean McVay. While it might not be likely, it's a chance worth taking. And that's another point. I would take the young man too. I would take Nate Shieldhouse over Schwartz. Why? Because, like the man said, he's bringing a piece of Sean McVay's offense. Could you imagine Sean McVay's offense ran by Shedeur Sanders and they get pieces around him? They have a decent offensive line. They got a few pieces here or there. You just need to add around it. And to have some of Sean McVay's offense in Cleveland with that defense, man, you could challenge in the NFC South. You can not in the AFC South. You can challenge in the AFC South. Is it the South? It's the North. I'm sorry, the North. The AFC North. Cincinnati, isn't that the North? And yes, Cincinnati. What is it? Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and I'm missing somebody. Shit, I forgot. Cleveland. There you go. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and the other team. There you go. Shit, hell on it. Ain't my squads. But the bottom line is this, man. They have to and matter of fact, all of them got new coaches, didn't they? Baltimore. That's what I'm thinking. Baltimore. Cleveland, Cincy, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. It took me a little minute there. But in the end, all of them that's getting new coaches. Baltimore don't have a coach yet. Pittsburgh got McCarthy. Baltimore doesn't have a coach. Cincy kept their coach. Cleveland get Nate Shieldhouse. And, or Anthony Lynn. Either one of those guys do not stay with Schwartz. You won't get in. You'll be back in this position in 3 years from now looking to fire that guy. I'm telling you. Don't do it. You go and get Shieldhouse. At least he can bring some offense to help get you going. Your defense is all right. You need a few pieces here or there. I would be cool with that. I would be cool with Shieldhouse. I would be cool with Anthony Lynn. I'm cool with those, just not Schwartz. Do not let Schwartz do it. He's gonna screw it up. Anyway, with that being said, man, look, I'm gonna cut out on that. I appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Y'all do me a service by hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on social media feed. We in this thing, Big Q, representing the mighty Who Dat Nation. And remember, we also are sponsored by FanDuel, man. For all your bets, NFL, NBA, UFC, whatever, go to FanDuel on the app, prop bets, all of that. The lines are available, man. You can check out the lines. All that's available on FanDuel. So with that being said, shout out to our Patreon members and our YouTube champions. Listen, fam, we got a new TSC Patreon show coming up tonight for you guys, for our Patreon and YouTube membership family. Tonight for you guys, that'll be talking about what we're going to be doing, a nice little exercise. We're doing the mock draft, but we also going to we're doing the mock draft simulation, but we're going to put it together with the free agency simulation. You get what I'm saying? We about to do it up Big Q style. If y'all won't check that one out, join patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. And with that being said, baby, I'm out. I'm gonna holler at you on the next one. We'll be on PPR final tonight for the recap matchup between the Pels and the OKC Thunder. DC, myself will be recapping that for my Pelican people, just to let y'all know on the programming note. With that being said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the share button, and the notification button, and I'm gonna holler at you later. Peace. Who that?
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with the HootitDaily.com. Your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit the WhoDatDaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation. Stay in the NO.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below or in the chat.